Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. Another California-based bank could be in trouble. Shares for PacWest Bank plummeted after news broke of company executives considering a potential sale. A suspect has been detained in the Davis stabbings. We'll hear more on what the police know so far. A state senator running for Congress was recently arrested for DUI. He has since apologized and will continue his campaign. All eyes are on the banking industry again as another U.S. bank could be in trouble. Shares of PacWest were cut in half during after-hours trading yesterday. That came after news of a company executives considering a potential sale. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more on the latest bank looking for rescue.
PacWest shares fell more than 55% in after-hours trading Wednesday. Bloomberg, citing anonymous sources, reported that the regional bank has been contemplating a sale among other strategic alternatives. The Beverly Hills-based bank has been weakened by the recent failure of 3 California-based lenders. Shares of PacWest already took a hit in March when SVB failed. Its stock plunged 76% from more than $26 at the beginning of March to around $6.40 on Wednesday. The news comes just hours after the Federal Reserve said that the worst of the banking turmoil was over. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says the conditions in the banking sector have broadly improved since early March.
The U.S. banking system is sound and resilient.
President Biden made a similar statement earlier this week after federal regulators facilitated the sale of First Republic Bank.
The banking system is safe and sound.
Biden said all First Republic insured and uninsured depositors would be protected, shareholders would lose their investments, and taxpayers would not be on the hook. PacWest was the nation's 53rd largest commercial bank at the end of last year, with $41 billion in total assets. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
We have an update on the Davis stabbings. The recent string of crime has now led to events being canceled and evening college classes moving online. But the good news is authorities have detained a suspect they believe could be responsible. Here's more on what the police know so far.
Davis police said they have arrested 21-year-old Carlos Dominguez, who is responsible for 2 homicides and an attempted homicide within a week. He was arrested at 1 p.m. Thursday.
Yesterday afternoon, we had about 15 callers over near Central West Davis, near Sycamore Park, and they reported seeing a person who matched the description that we had provided after the 3rd attack.
Dominguez is said to be from Oakland and was a UC Davis student up until last week. In a press release, UC Davis said Dominguez was in his 3rd year until April 25th, when he was, quote, separated for academic reasons. He reportedly used a hunting-type knife in his suspected stabbing spree. Dominguez allegedly stabbed and killed 20-year-old UC Davis student Kareem Abu Najim and 50-year-old David Henry Bro, or Compassion Guy. The homeless woman, identified as Kimberly Guillory, who was also stabbed, is recovering at the hospital. Based on the evidence investigators gathered, Dominguez is being suspected for all 3 instances.
The arrest today is the culmination of excellent investigative work by the Davis Police, as well as our regional and national law enforcement partners. I commend and thank them, these professionals who worked around the clock to ensure that this criminal is taken out of our neighborhoods and is now in custody.
Dominguez has been booked into Yolo County Jail on 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The recent crime has affected the small college town. Starting May 2nd, UC Davis moved all nighttime instruction that ends after 6 p.m. to be online. According to the chancellor, they would resume Monday. Some events have been canceled and businesses announced they are closing earlier. And in memory of Najim, who was 6 weeks away from graduating with honors, his family organized an undergraduate student research award for UC Davis students doing research.
Speaking of crime, the arraignment for the tech executive who killed the Cash App CEO Bob Lee has been delayed again. The defense attorney is asking for more time.
The San Francisco district attorney and the defense attorney in the killing of Cash App founder Bob Lee sparred in separate news conferences on Tuesday over the victim's drug use. The autopsy report, released on Monday, contained a toxicology report which said Lee had alcohol and cocaine in his system when he died on April 4th. Paula Canny, defense attorney for the suspect, Nima Momeni, said the autopsy confirmed her suspicion.
All information affects strategy, and it confirms what I said. Didn't I say last week I thought that there were going to be a lot of drugs? There's a lot of drugs in Bob Lee's system. I mean, Bob Lee's system is like the Walgreens of recreational drugs.
District Attorney Brooke Jenkins responded to Canny's comments in a news conference afterwards.
At this point, regardless of whether somebody has or has not done drugs, that does not give someone a license to kill them. And so we are going to continue course with the facts that we know, because we believe that regardless of whatever that toxicology report may show, that Mr. Momeni is guilty of murder.
Momeni was arrested on April 13th and charged with Lee's murder. His arraignment on Tuesday was delayed for a third time after the defense sought a continuance. Canny told reporters she and her client would plead not guilty, but that they needed time to determine whether or not to waive time for the preliminary hearing. On the autopsy report, Canny expressed shock that members of the media had received the report before she or the prosecutors had been given a copy.
That is crazy. Yeah, I did pay $49. And because I wasn't the first to get it, how the coroner's office sent it out was the order of request. So that to me is kind of crazy. And that media got it before either the prosecution and me.
Jenkins said she was also concerned about the report appearing to go out to the media before prosecutors and that her office would have to look into that process.
This is someone who was killed. He has a family, he has children who should not have to learn of these things through the press. They have rights to privacy. And again, we should be making sure that there's a certain level of decorum in the way that we handle these types of sensitive cases.
The arraignment has been rescheduled for May 18th at 9 a.m.
And further up north in Sacramento, a state senator was recently arrested for DUI. He apologized on social media, saying he would not let it affect his work as he runs for Congress.
Senator Dave Min was arrested and cited for driving under influence on Tuesday. Officers noticed he was driving in Sacramento at night without headlights on and ran a red light. According to CHP, they noticed he showed signs of alcohol intoxication. KTLA reported that Min was cited for DUI with blood alcohol content 0.08% or greater. He was booked into Sacramento County Jail and released Wednesday morning. In a Facebook post, he said, "My decision to drive last night was irresponsible. I accept full responsibility and there is no excuse for my actions. To my family, constituents, and supporters, I am so deeply sorry. I know I need to do better. I will not let this personal failure distract from our work in California and in Washington." Min represents California's 37th district in Orange County. He's running for the congressional seat currently held by Katie Porter, and Porter is running for Dianne Feinstein's seat.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Local and state officials are calling for more decisive action to address the fentanyl crisis. We have more on what changes they hope to see. A Good Samaritan saves a baby from a potential traffic accident. He helps a mother save her baby after she trips and falls. And an iconic donut shop just opened their first store in San Diego, with plans to open more in the future. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. Local law enforcement and government leaders in Irvine are calling for more action to be taken to address the fentanyl crisis. In California alone, fentanyl-related deaths have increased by more than 1,500% since 2016. NTD's Bill Thomas has the story.
Standing in front of an enlarged photograph of colorful, candy-like fentanyl pills, local law enforcement and government leaders urge the public and other elected officials to support two state bills that aim to address the deadly fentanyl crisis.
As we've all come to learn, fentanyl is one of the most dangerous and deadly substances in the world. Just 2 milligrams, that's 2 grains of sand, is enough to kill. And kill it certainly has. Over the last 6 years, the number of fentanyl-related deaths in California has skyrocketed from 239 in 2016 to 5,722 in 2021. That is an increase of more than 2,000%.
Petrie Norris introduced two bills, AB 955 and AB 1027, to help combat fentanyl's deadly effect on Californians, especially youth.
The first is AB 1027 to help law enforcement investigate fentanyl deaths on social media platforms. We are working with social media companies to ensure that they retain information and that law enforcement that information is available and accessible to law enforcement when they are conducting investigations about fentanyl deaths that have occurred because of sales online. I've also introduced AB 955 to strengthen penalties for online dealers and traffickers who are targeting and selling to our kids on these online platforms.
Both bills were heard on April 27th by the state assembly committees. AB 1027 was heavily amended and is now awaiting further instruction. AB 955 was immediately put on hold and referred for further interim study by the Assembly Public Safety Committee.
We are just outraged by the small group of people who are legislators in Sacramento who are preventing reasonable bills that will protect our kids from moving forward. There is an effort to treat fentanyl like other drug issues in the past. And fentanyl is different. More than 110 Californians die every week in this state, in California.
Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer also expressed his disappointment with the committee's decision.
I sat on that Public Safety Committee when I was in the state legislature, and I can tell you unequivocally, its name is completely inappropriate. It is not the Public Safety Committee. It is the Pro-Criminal Committee. It supports initiatives to open our prison doors, to not hold people accountable, to shut prisons, which is on the agenda of our state legislature and other policymakers in Sacramento.
Spitzer says that the state of California has let down our crime victims and that education should be a priority, along with accountability and stricter penalties for drug dealers.
We are not dealing with people here who are good model citizens. We are talking about drug dealers. We are talking about people who know they're pushing fentanyl into our streets. We now know how it's getting here. We know where it's manufactured. And our kids and our entire population is completely in danger.
According to the State Department of Public Health, more than 5,700 people died of fentanyl poisoning in 2021, including 224 teenagers between 15 and 19 years old. At 50 times stronger toxicity than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. It's often added to other drugs due to its potency and low cost. Bill Thomas, NTD News, Orange County.
Also in San Jose, the city manager recently released a tentative budget proposal that will reallocate affordable housing funds to address homelessness. The proposal drew controversy over the weekend as other city officials criticized the idea. NTD also spoke to some locals to hear their thoughts on the proposal.
To tackle the homeless crisis in Silicon Valley's San Jose, the city released an unofficial budgetary proposal that contained a controversial move to reallocate over half of the funds from Measure E, amounting to over $35 million. Measure E was first put on the ballot in 2019 and later approved by voters. It serves to raise property taxes, and former Mayor Sam Liccardo mainly used the tax money to fund affordable housing.
I think that's good for us because we seeing so many people are on the road. We need to help us.
However, the current mayor, Matt Mahan, instead wants to use the funds to combat a different crisis entirely. His new proposal would supposedly allocate $20 million to interim housing for the homeless. Some experts have noted that if Measure E funding is shifted, it may end up making both the affordable housing and homeless crises worse.
California is the most expensive state in the United States. And like these people, they were working before and they were paying taxes. We can't abandon people who was effective in this society.
Councilman Peter Ortiz wrote in a statement criticizing the idea, saying, quote, "We definitely need emergency interim housing, but we also need to make sure that we're dedicating dollars for the development of affordable housing. Measure E is one of our only sources for that. The council is going to be split on the Measure E spending proposal when it's released." Others on the council said Monday that they could be more flexible on how the tax money can be used to advance homeless initiatives.
Ultimately, the official budget will be announced later this week, with a council vote on the budget soon to follow. Now, can you imagine reaching for a baby stroller, but then you trip and fall while the stroller rolls towards traffic? Surveillance footage showed this scenario unfolding in Southern California this week, but luckily, help was nearby.
A man is being recognized after footage shows the Good Samaritan rushing in to save a runaway baby stroller right in front of a car wash. Surveillance footage from this week shows the baby stroller rolling away from a woman in Hesperia, located in San Bernardino County. The woman notices the stroller but then falls down, and she struggles to get up while the stroller continues to head towards traffic. But luckily, a man rushes over to save the day. Another person comes to help as well, both comforting the lady. The hero was sitting at a nearby bench when he noticed the scene unfolding and said he just had to react. He hopes the situation can help remind parents to make sure they always lock the wheels on their stroller.
And to top off the evening, we have a tasty story for food lovers out there. So let's share and do not eat it alone. The iconic and famous Randy's Donut Shop just opened its first location yesterday in San Diego.
Known for its oversized, large donut-shaped signage, the iconic Randy's Donut Shop opened its first San Diego location on May 3rd. Lawrence Carroll, the company's vice president, told the Epoch Times, quote, "San Diego is an incredible family city with world-class attractions, and we're honored to add our world-famous donuts to the list of reasons why families love San Diego so much." It started out in 1952 with a single store in Inglewood. But now, with the addition of a new location in San Diego, the company now has 29 locations. This newest store is at 3737 Murphy Canyon Road. And according to Carroll, the company is also seeking 2 additional locations to open in San Diego in the next 2 years, and has plans to open 8 more in the city in the future.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castillo for our sports roundup, where we take you out to the ball game.
Let's dive into the sports roundup for today. I'm Tyler Castillo.
Max Muncy hit a grand slam on the first pitch he saw from former teammate Craig Kimbrell as the Los Angeles Dodgers rally past the visiting Philadelphia Phillies for a walk-off victory Wednesday afternoon. Muncy's 12th home run of the season reached the seats down the right field line Freddie Freeman was walked intentionally, and Will Smith walked to load the bases. Miguel Vargas hit a home run for the Dodgers. And right-hander Gavin Stone gave up 5 runs on 8 hits in 4 innings with 2 walks and a strikeout in his first major league debut. Bryce Harper reached base 5 times for the Phillies, who saw their losing streak extend to 4 games. Dodgers 10, Phillies 6. Jake Lamb and Mike Trout hit 9th-inning homers as visiting Los Angeles rallied past St. Louis on a night Shohei Ohtani dominated both on the mound and at the plate. Brandon Drury also hit a homer for the Angels, who won for the 6th time in their last 8 games. Ohtani allowed 4 runs on 5 hits and 1 walk in 5 innings. He tied a career high by striking out 13 batters and earned his 500th career strikeout. Reliever Ryan Tepera pitched the 8th inning to earn the victory, and Carlos Estevez closed out the 9th inning for his 7th save. Reliever Giovanni Gallegos allowed 3 9th-inning runs to take the loss. Angels 6, Cardinals 4. Brett Sullivan drove in the first 4 runs of his major league career as host San Diego defeated Cincinnati in the rubber game of their series. Juan Soto added a bases-clearing double for the Padres. Starter Seth Lugo held the Reds to 1 run on 7 hits over 6 innings to earn the win. The right-hander issued 2 walks and had 5 strikeouts. Padres 7, Reds 1. Joey Bart doubled in a run and scored another. Wilmer Flores clubbed a home run, and San Francisco left Texas with a series win after a victory over Houston. Webb took a shutout into the 8th before walking David Hensley and serving up a single to Martin Maldonado, bringing the potential tying run to the plate with no one out. But Webb got former teammate Mauricio Dubon to ground into a double play, which became critical when Alex Bregman followed with a 2-run homer to draw Houston within 3-2. The homer was Bregman's 4th of the season. Flores bombed his 5th homer of the year in the 9th, a solo shot to give the San Francisco bullpen some breathing room. Scott Alexander struck out Yordan Alvarez to end the 8th before closing. Camilo Doval worked around a leadoff walk in the 9th for his 5th save. Giants 4, Astros 2.
And that is all for the Sports Roundup for today. I'm Tyler Castillo. Back to you, Bill.
Thanks, Tyler. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.